2 years ago, I borrowed a Hasselblad X2D and I said this.
Or if Hasselblad gave me this camera, of course I'd take it, I'd shoot it, it's fantastic.
Well, Hasselblad have actually offered me an X2D to keep. Now, I battled with my conscience for a bit and I thought, should I be accepting gifts? And then they showed me the X2D that they want to send me. And I was like, I can accept gifts. No problem. Send it my way. Now, the X2D has always been one of the sexiest cameras on the market. Photographers would swoon at the sight of this camera. Well, let me tell you, it just got a hell of a lot sexier. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the limited edition Earth Explorer 100 megapixel Hasselblad X2D. Is it possible to be in love with inanimate objects? I think it might be. You see, I already own 2 Hasselblad cameras. I have my X-Pan here, and I have my beloved, quite possibly the favourite camera in my collection, and the one that I would grab if my house was on fire, my Hasselblad 501 CM. So now it fits nicely into the Hasselblad family. So with all of that being said, I now need to take this on its very first landscape photography adventure, the thing that it was designed to do. And I thought, what better place to take it than back to its homeland of Sweden. Yep. We hired a sailboat. Never sailed a day in my life. In fact, this is the first time I've ever been on a sailboat, and that is why I'm incredibly excited. We have beautiful weather forecast, beautiful sailing conditions, and hopefully some fantastic photography to come. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Bohuslän, which is the west coast of Sweden. So the captain on board today is Jonas Parell, or Jonas, as I'm sure you know him from many of my videos, and I will be his skivvy, the deckhand. So the plan is, we don't have much of a plan. The plan is to sail during the day, and then around about 3 p.m, sort of mid-afternoon, we're going to find our anchor, our natural harbours, and it's those natural harbours that are going to give us our photography. Lots of small islands, all granite rock. It's going to be beautifully minimalist photography. We have a dinghy on board, so we can access the islands, get off the boat, go for a walk, and find those beautifully peaceful compositions.
Let's take a ride. I've got the perfect place in mind. We've got an hour or so to hide. Montenegro, love of mine.
So we have made anchor, a beautiful nature harbour. It's just fantastic. I have no idea if we're going to be able to make any photographs this evening, but the beauty of photography for me is just walking around and exploring and seeing what we see. So I've got the X2D. We'll go for a bit of a walk. It looks very overcast. Yeah, so I'm kind of hoping for some light and some colour to bring this landscape to life. And I fear that without that colour and that light, we might struggle. Yeah, we'll see. That might be the only light that we get this evening. Oh, that's a bit disappointing. I was hoping for some light this evening. Of course, I saw the cloud and knew that it probably wasn't going to be the case. I did get that one photograph, that panoramic, which did have light in it. And I was a little bit optimistic that it might break through, but it hasn't. It's sunset now, and it's just completely clouded over. So I think I'm going to head back to the boat and then try again in the morning. And I think sunrise looks a little more promising in terms of light. So yeah, we'll get an early night and wake up early. Well, what a beautiful morning we have today. So this is a bit more what I was hoping for from this trip. Some beautiful colour, vibrant sunrises, sunsets, and a nice bit of light. I need about another half meter. Okay. All right, we have made it to our natural harbour for the day. Well, as you can see, we're at our harbour. Had a nice relaxing rest, a bit of a swim, and now we're just going to explore this rock island that we're anchored to and see if there's any photography. We're quite a ways from the sunset, so not got too many expectations, but we'll have a walk around and see what's doing.
In the morning when I get up, I wish that we could stop and take each day. In the evening when I get home, always hope to find you all alone and out of harm's way. Every time I look around, I hope to find you looking back at
So about 50 meters from where our boat is docked, there are these granite rocks. They're incredible. They're so rotund and smooth. They look like more like pillows than they do like rocks. And they're fantastic. And as soon as we pulled in, I thought, you know, that there's got to be a photograph there. So that's what I'm doing, hunting for that composition. It's so chaotic, it's so cluttered, the light is so harsh. This whole thing's a struggle, but I do think it's worth pursuing, and I reckon I might have a composition, possibly, maybe half a composition, I'm not sure, but because of the light and the wind, we're going to be going for a long exposure. And I'm going to convert to black and white because I'm interested in the tones, not so much the colour, because at the minute everything is far too blue. So I've actually gone ahead and put on a 3-stop on top of a 10-stop, so 13 stops altogether, which is giving me an exposure of just over 3 minutes at f/16, and that's what I want. I want to completely kill any motion, any movement in this scene, all of the water. Possibly some clouds as well. I'm also manually focusing because it's just far more reliable when you've got this amount of filters on.
Well, this photograph turned out okay. I was happy with the tones and the long exposure, but the composition was off. It wasn't right. The rocks felt too tight and too hemmed in. So I decided to try again, but with a wider lens.
All right, there we go. Just drop the filters straight on as before. Good old case magnetics. Make life nice and easy. All right, let's have a look at this. All right, this feels much better. Before we were shooting with a 55mm lens, now we're shooting at 28. And it just feels, it felt before the composition like the rocks, which were the main subjects, it just felt they were a bit hemmed in, not too much room to breathe. Whereas just by widening things out and then containing it to a square aspect ratio, I think this is gonna work much better. So I'll get my focus, everything the same as before, but we should have hopefully a better shot. It's always difficult to tell until I get on the computer screen at home, but yeah, I think this is the way to go.
Once again, the afternoon clouds rolled in, snuffing out any chance of a beautiful sunset. But that's okay, because we always have sunrise the next day. Yeah, unfortunately overnight the winds had changed, pushing the boat by just a few feet, meaning that it was far too risky for me to disembark the boat onto land, especially when carrying all of this expensive Hasselblad gear. You see, one slip and I'm going straight into 20 meters of water. After leaving the windy nature harbour, things were only forecast to get worse with high winds and thunderstorms set to roll through. So we decided to visit the harbour town of Smøgen, giving us a chance to recharge our batteries, eat some proper food, and of course explore this beautiful town with our cameras.
It is windy this morning. That's why I'm putting my tripod down in its lowest setting. So I came back this morning to take the same composition that I took yesterday in the middle of the day with that bright sunshine. And I have to say, surprisingly, that so far I think I prefer the middle of the day shot. It has so much contrast and drama. Whereas this morning, although it's nice, it feels a bit flat. And this wind, the wind's coming from a different direction. It's coming across and sideways. I feel like it's going to be shaking the camera more. It seems to have stirred up the sea more. So yeah, I mean, we're still quite away from sunrise, but as it stands, I think I prefer the midday shot. Yeah, we'll see. I might look for another composition and see what happens with the light. Right, I'm gonna move on and try and find a different composition. I'm just not excited by this, but I think with the sun coming up, there might be something a little bit more dynamic looking further towards the sunrise. And as well as that, it's just far too exposed here. It's so cold and windy. Like, it's relentless, and it's, quite frankly, it's miserable. All right, so it looks like we have our second composition here, which is quite nice. However, we still aren't able to get sheltered from the wind. It's relentless. So I'm really hoping that these images are sharp, because they're all long exposure images. We'll see. All right, so I've got a composition here. The light is lovely. The sun's just risen. It's diffused behind a few clouds, so it's nice and soft. Now I've opted for a one-to-one composition. It just feels right. It feels balanced. We have a lovely leading path going through the image to a distant island with a lighthouse, but it's very tight. The viewer can just about make their way through. That's my only concern, is that it's a bit tight. Now that's okay, because I'm shooting this as a square, which kind of creates that tight space. If if I want to, I can just go back to the 4:3 aspect ratio, which will expand things a bit more, but I don't know, I think this is okay, and with the nice soft light, a long exposure, yeah, I think this is an okay image. But of course, as always, please let me know your thoughts in the comments. So we're at f16, 16-second exposure. We're focusing about halfway into the image. Off the dock and ready to depart. Sailing and shooting from the boat. Bloody brilliant, man. Got a lovely lighthouse coming up that's nestled into the rocks. And it's quite sunny, it's quite bright, but you get that lovely contrast of the white lighthouse against the darker rocks, beautiful clouds behind. So we'll make for a nice black and white. Yeah, all we're maintaining. Well, what a fantastic few days this has been on the high seas, sailing, a bit of photography with the X2D limited edition. And I want to end with this, right? This is a beautiful camera, the colour. I mean, we knew this was a good camera. I've used this camera a few times in the past, and to be honest, I've lusted after it. It's a fantastic thing, but it was always out of reach. So I'm so grateful that Hasselblad have given me this opportunity. And the limited edition is just, every time I look at it, I swoon. It's just beautiful. But here's the thing. This is what I want to end on. It's not about gear and it's not about image quality. Photography is about the experiences that you have. Now, it might sound cheesy and cliche. I know this. I know. I get it. But I would have never, ever come sailing in Sweden if it wasn't for photography. It wasn't for this opportunity with Hasselblad, you know, an excuse to go and do something and try something. Photography for me, from day one, has always been nothing more than an excuse to go and see something and do something and be out there in nature. So the opportunities that photography gives me, that's the special thing. And this trip is a great example. Those sunrises, those sunsets. When else would you know, who else wakes up at 4 in the morning and walks up a mountain and sees the sunrise? Mostly it's photographers, right? That's what photography gives you. So that's what I want to end on. This is a beautiful camera. I'm so happy to have it in my collection, and you will be seeing a lot more of it. But for now, I want to say thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, you know, the usual, give it a like. If you've, you know, let me know what you think of the images. Let me know your opinions on this camera. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next week.
There once was a ship that put to sea, and the name of that ship was the Billy O.T. The winds blew harder, bow dip down, blow me bully boys blow. Soon may the wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go. She had not been 2 weeks from shore when down on her a right whale bore. The captain called all hands and swore he'd take that whale in tow. Soon may the wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go. Before the boat had hit the water, the whale's tail came up and caught her. All hands to the side harpooned and fought her when she dived down low. Soon may the wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go. No line was cut, no whale was freed, and the captain's mind was not on greed, but he belonged to the whalesman's creed. She took that ship in tow.